Right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Welcome to the full council meeting of Tuesday, the 20th of February. And first item on the agenda is apologies for absence, Ms. Clark.
I've had apologies from Councillor Humphreys, Councillor Glenn, Councillor Peel, Councillor Clark and Councillor Chappell.
Councillor Chappell, right. Next item on the agenda, to accept apologies for absence. Do we accept those apologies?
Do we know what they're for?
I know that Councillor Chappell is on duty tonight.
Right.
I know that Councillor Humphreys is in Australia. Councillor Glenn is skiing in Canada.
No, I mean, let's get this.
He's a good last as a council.
I think we accept them.
Councillor Clark's in Kenya
No,
on a school trip.
Councillor Peel.
We're worldwide, international.
It's International Day.
we're doing something wrong with
Councillor Peel,
His wife's going away and he's doing something with his wife tonight.
he's planning for his wife to go to Russia. So
He's been having a problem getting on the
those of us who are left in Oundle will continue with the meeting. We are for it.
I propose that we accept him.
Yes, please. Oh, do you want a second?
So we'll accept them.
Yes, please. Right, it is done.
The next item on the agenda, item 190, is to receive an address from the Mayor. I'm just going to say I gave this address at the start of the neighbourhood plan meeting, but for those who weren't at that meeting, it's just to repeat that councillors are bound by a code of conduct to behave in a particular manner, and you are expected at all times to behave in that manner. You are entitled to a private life, and what you do in your private capacity is your own business, but you need to really then differentiate between what is private and public. On no occasion should there be any misbehaviour or especially bullying of anybody or mistreating anybody by councillors. I've been asked to make that statement. I've now made it at the last two meetings, and I think that has clarified it. I think everybody's heard it. Item 191, declarations of interests. To receive and consider any declarations of interest from members and officers under Section 50 of the Local Government Act 2000. That's our Standing Order 35. This requirement applies only in respect of matters which are to be considered by the Council at this meeting. 19101, to declare any disclosable pecuniary interests. No. We've got Glapthorne, to receive Glapthorne Neighbourhood Plan Regulation 16 documentation later in the meeting. I don't have to declare it, but I will state that I am a resident of Glapthorne. I am neither a member of their parish council or of their neighbourhood plan working group, but I am a resident of the parish. Councillor Chappell, if he comes late, he's duty solicitor tonight. If he comes late, he will also want to make that same declaration that he was a former member of the working party, but it's now been disbanded. 19102, to declare any other interests. No. 19103, to consider any requests for dispensation. No. 19104, to report any gifts or hospitality accepted over the value of £50.
Oh.
We're under £50, we're okay. It's zero. 19105, to report any appropriate gifts or hospitality offered. No. 192, minutes of the previous meetings. 19201, proposition to approve and sign the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 16th of January 2018 as an accurate record our Standing Order 10C. You've got those in your pack. If you've had a chance to have a look at those, do I have a proposer, please? Councillor Oates, N, is proposing, and a seconder, please. Councillor Hutton is seconding. Those in favour?
Was this the
That's
16th?
everybody who was present. You were not.
No, wasn't, that's right.
Yeah.
You can vote on minutes even if you weren't present.
Oh, there we go.
Can you?
Yeah, you can vote at the meeting,
Oh, right, I mean, we've
even
never
if you're
done
not
that
present,
ever.
because they're being approved at this meeting and you've had a chance to read them, so you
Oh,
can
right,
vote.
you've read them, of course.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't get who put the hands up anyway.
Never really.
It was.
Right.
Just stairs,
Right, I'll catch up with you in about 3 pages' time.
We've only got 3 pages of this. That's bad, the next one.
And the date's the 20th. Right, 19202, proposition to approve and sign the minutes of the Neighbourhood Plan full council meeting held on the 6th of February 2018 as an accurate record. That is Standing Order 10C. So, do I have anyone to propose them?
Oh, sorry.
Councillor Chesser, anyone to second them? There's only you and I there. I will have to second them. Those in favour of approving the minutes?
All good. Got the councillor. With?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on to the next bit. Is public participation from interested parties or members of the public. Have we had
I
anything?
haven't received anything now.
Not received anything? Do you,
I have a question, but it's to do with the neighbourhood plan. I don't know whether you want to read it to the neighbourhood plan or I ask the question now.
it needs to be done now
Right,
because you
okay.
shouldn't
Yeah, okay, well, I'll do it
legally
now.
do it later.
Can you tell me how you're going to publicise all the information that you've received at all these meetings you've held, all the slips of paper you've had, and so on? How are you going to make the town know what people have said? And
Yes.
how are you, and you'll be going to do that in a statistical manner, which will actually say how many people said so and so, so and so and so. So at least the town knows what's going on.
Right. We can certainly put them out on our website.
I suggest the website isn't quite enough because there are people
The thing
who
is,
do
you
not
don't
have
really want to be
access
publishing
to the internet.
information that people have given you with their details on
Yeah.
without their permission.
No, that is a
It wasn't
problem.
information that was published. I mean, you can. Those comments I thought were going to go when we got to Regulation 14, go into East Northants so that they have them
Yes,
just when they produce their reports.
that's what they're for.
Yeah.
Yes. We can certainly, we've got a spreadsheet with the information on. We can certainly look at that, picking up how many people have made the same comment.
Yes, not names.
That's possible to do, but we're going to have to redact a certain amount of information because under the revised data protection laws, unless those people have given their free and voluntary consent in writing.
Well, you don't have to name people.
No,
I'm
but
not
just,
suggesting you do do that.
But
You don't
also,
know then
those
they
people
potentially
weren't
can't do
aware
that.
that that information actually is going out.
No,
That was information sent to the council, their comments on that plan. It
But I
wasn't-
think you do need to have some sort of précis of what people, so the town knows
yes,
what people have been saying about the proposed plan.
yes.
And that could be generic comments rather than
Yeah.
specific comments which...
They'd have to be
Yeah.
like, you'd have to build, like say, we've had comments
data
regarding
protection
this,
issues
regarding
there.
this.
Because there is a perception, if I'm honest, that people have been doing all this, what's happening to it?
I think
Yeah.
people are going to have to be a little bit patient because the right time to feed back the comments will be the end of the consultation period, which hasn't even started yet. So when the formal consultation period starts, then the dates will become known and we'll be able to give some feedback at the end of that. But I don't think we should be feeding back anything before the formal consultation period has ended.
You can
We're
get
certainly not
ideas
obliged
and
to.
gossip stuff.
It was my view.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rest of the council may not agree, but that
Yeah.
was my view. Is that it would be better to come out with a consolidated view once the formal consultation process has ended, rather than coming
Are there
out.
any other
with
thoughts on
groups and
that
drafts.
as to
Well, I think you
when?
have to be careful that you're not seen to be doing things behind closed doors.
I
Yeah.
think openness...
Don't agree with that.
I mean, the whole process, as
Yeah.
I understand it, and having heard of the experience in Blackbourn, where I used to live, has to be open. You have to say, what people thought and so on. That's my understanding.
No, I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think openness and frankness all the way through is part of the thing, and I personally feel that if we can do some generic stuff,
Yeah.
then at least it shows that we're listening and
Yeah,
reacting.
that's the feeling.
I think
You know,
so.
we don't know.
And if we don't do
know
anything-
whether they're listening.
Yeah, that's the usual thing. We don't say anything, people just say they make it all up for you. And we need to be seen, bearing in mind the previous history, that we are very open and able to, and transparent. And I think it would really help if we could, you've got the Oracle coming up actually.
I was going to say,
Charter,
put it in
but
the-
that's the best way to put it.
It is the best way, because that's delivered to it, or in the Nene Valley News.
It
That's-
really-
Yeah,
You-
delivered.
The amount that there is, you certainly won't get into either Nene Valley News or the Oracle.
I think somebody's got to do a synopsis of it, and I actually think that possibly ought to be somebody who's not actually
I'm
on
sure
planning.
It could go on the website with copies held in various places of, as Councillor Fuller has said, a generic document such that the number of people with a particular view was X number.
Exactly.
That sort of document, I think we could put those kind of statistics out in the library, in the office here, and one or two other places.
And the Oracle, yeah.
I can also suggest the digital notice board would be a good place to say, have a look at the comments on the website. We need to make more use of that as a means of transferring information.
Councillor Oakes.
This is all very well, but unfortunately what we have is people flying kites, and what you have to do is work out how you can afford to pay for some of the things that have been suggested in the past. And I've been involved in this for a very long time now, and that's the biggest problem. I'll put it to you quite straightforwardly. There's lots of things we
Oh,
love.
I don't think that's the issue.
I think it is. I think it is, because you set out a plan, and then there's lots of things that people would like, but then you've got to afford them, and you've got to work out who's going to pay for them. Now, given the situation we're in with government pressures and various other bits and pieces, we're looking at pence rather
So I'm
than
not
pounds.
sure this is about what people like. I think
Let's just say
it's their view of what the town might be.
Okay, I'll change the vernacular. I accept that. What I'm saying is, I'm a practical bloke. I go, look, if you want to do that, it's going to cost X.
Right, so,
That's it.
yeah.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah, some of them will be pie in the sky because they're totally
Absolutely.
unaffordable. They will be totally unaffordable.
Councillor Chester.
My understanding about a consultation is that information will be available
Yes.
to be consulted over
Yes,
appropriately.
it will.
I mean,
Yes.
that's the whole point
Yeah,
of
but I
the
think you
consultation.
need
Sorry, I'm just speaking. That's
Yeah, sorry,
the whole
Laura.
point about a consultation process.
Mm.
It's not about everything being done secretly. That the whole point of consultation
Yeah.
is that information will be available.
Yeah, so I think something will be done with the spreadsheet with all those comments
Yeah,
in.
that's fine.
And we'll be able to put out some kind of summary of what they are.
Yeah.
But there will be a lot of different comments, as well as 100 people might all say the same thing or similar. There will be, I think, hundreds of comments. There have been a lot of those slips, haven't there? And some people have made more than
Well,
one
then that's
comment.
where you have to prioritise, isn't it? Because the 100 comments are probably the ones that are the most important to people. The odd comment that's unaffordable, you're not going to do in the real world.
I think what it shows is
I'd love to do a lot of these.
Oh, I know we would. I mean, we all.
But we're talking about our town.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we've got to...
You know, you're to represent the town, and we all have very mixed feelings.
Right, unless there's any more questions
No,
from the
that's
floor,
fine.
we'll move forward. I'm going, because time is tight and we've got quite a lot to get through tonight, I'm going to not give a mayor's report.
It's in there.
In the pack.
It's in the other book, isn't it?
There is a mayor's report in the Oracle, which pretty well covers a lot of it. District councillors are not here. 19502 district councillors are not here to give a report.
Yeah, I had apologies from Jake
Right.
Bowles, but I haven't heard from the other two.
Okay, so we'll skip that. Move on to 196. If one of the councillors can volunteer, please, to do the signing and sealing resolution.
I'll do it if you want.
Councillor Fuller.
That any two councillors and the proper officer may seal any document required by law to be issued under seal on behalf of the council. Standing Order 14B.
That's a
Proposer?
I'm
proposer.
just seconding you.
Seconded Councillor Oates. Those in favour? Thank you. That's everybody. Right, we move on 197 on to town matters. To consider and approve the suitable date for a spring litter pick in Oundle.
Yeah, if you remember, we had somebody come to a meeting last year,
Yes.
and we said that we would arrange a litter pick, and I thought perhaps we ought to pencil in a date, because I think there's quite a bit that needs to be done with regards to risk assessments and health and safety and
Yes.
booking equipment from East Northants. So, yeah.
How far ahead do you want us to plan, Clerk?
I am thinking, where are we now, February, March? Well, mid to late April, or even into early May.
It's the summer. It's the summer.
I know, it's good. I'm just thinking of getting
Just do it on
everything.
April Fool's Day.
Can I just...
Let's stick to sensible comments, please. Let's.
Can
When
I
is
suggest
Easter, please?
Earth Day is the 20th.
End of March.
It's late.
End of March. If we make it middle
Can we
of
make
April
it
then?
Earth Day, 22nd of April?
That sounds good, actually.
That sounds a very good day.
It does?
Yes.
Yep.
Is that a
Yeah.
Saturday? That's a
It's
Saturday,
very,
though.
very sensible.
The day before St George's Day. Well, you're right on a Saturday or something, it doesn't matter, I'll be there.
And I think if we want to litter pick on our own land, that's fine, because obviously the council will give permission.
Yes.
But if you're thinking of people wanting people to litter pick on verges and highways, we will need to get proper permissions and things from the county council. So I don't know whether you want to, for this time, limit it to our areas.
What do you mean our areas?
Well, like the recreation ground
Oh, you mean the
That's
ones that are owned by the council?
that are owned by us, yeah.
Can we not try and get permission from them?
I can do, but I mean, it just means that there's a lot more involved. There's a lot more
People.
with regards to risk assessments and health.
Mm.
Because
Let's keep
obviously you've
it
then
simple.
got people on highways. I mean, I can look into it.
Can we do West Street at least? Then?
Yeah, but it's also, they suggest that you pick an area rather than like just say, right, we're going
No,
to
we
pick
did
the
that
whole of
before.
that. Yeah,
We did the whole of West Street.
yeah. So if we decide we're going to do one area, yeah. But I can look into all of that.
Send us off to different.
So
That's fine,
22nd.
22nd of April.
22nd,
Yeah.
fine. Right,
And probably what, just 2 or 3 hours in an afternoon or
So that-
something, or morning. Again, you don't want people there all day, do you?
No, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
it's a proposition from Councillor
You
Fuller.
could do it all day, but have shifts a bit.
Do
It
I
won't
have
take long, 2 hours you can do quite a lot,
Yeah.
if we're going to be doing it on council.
do I have a seconder?
I've got litter pickers.
I've got to order them all from East Northants.
We
So,
have them,
yeah.
I think.
I've got a proposition from Councillor Fuller. Do I have a seconder?
Yes, I'll second it.
Councillor Oakes S. Those in favour? And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Can
You
I
can
ask,
join us.
can I ask if we're going to involve the school children in this?
Well, they can. School children can come along, but they can sort of ideally come with their parents. We don't want to be responsible for the children, you know, and us having to
No,
manage them. Yeah.
I don't want to extend our responsibility. I'm just saying, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be advertised in the town for people, for everybody to come along.
Right.
And the school could do in their area, actually.
Yes.
That's all about permission.
Thank you. If we move on now to 19702, to consider a request from a resident to write a letter to businesses on the industrial estate to stop parking in the long stay car park.
Yeah, this was, we had somebody come in actually with information that they think that there are a lot of people that work on the industrial
Yeah.
estate are using that to park in because they can easily cut through to work and then they haven't got to worry about pulling out on the A605 after work. And he just wondered whether we could write to the businesses just to remind them.
It might be worth also pointing out that the same about Ashton Road as well, in that they do park in Ashton Road too. So, I mean, you know, obviously there's no reason why they can't. There's no restrictions at the moment,
No.
but maybe we should be saying that we'll be investigating introducing parking restrictions if and policing parking restrictions if they don't consider the needs of other parking users. It's
Any other comments? No? Do I have a proposer that we write to them? Councillor Fuller? Those, seconded by Councillor Chester. Those in favour? And that's unanimous. Councillor Chappell is just about to join us.
Hey. Hello, GT.
Jail free.
Right.
got my messages to my own.
Yes.
Moving on to item 198, council matters. 19801, to receive the clerk's monthly report. Unless the clerk has anything specific that
I haven't got anything else to add. If anybody's got any questions about what I've written.
the report is in your pack if you're all happy
Yeah.
with that. 19802, to consider the council's plan of action to comply with the EU General Data Protection Regulation, which takes effect from 25th of May.
Again, that was a report that I've put in following the courses that I've been on and some of the actions that I think we'll have to start to take.
Yes.
So,
Yes, we've certainly got to tighten up on things like email behaviour.
yeah, I think there needs to be a discussion about how we have the council, all of the councils having their own email address for the council, not using personal email addresses.
Okay, no other comments on that? It's just receiving that report.
Yeah, and also
comments.
things like we'll probably start in the office going through the sorts of data that we hold and highlighting whether we should hold it, how long we should hold it for, and that sort of thing. So we're going to start going through that process.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. 19803, to approve the March edition of the Oundle Oracle. You've got it, in fact it missed the pack, but you've got it here tonight in hard copy. If you've all had a chance to have a look at your hard copy. Are there any comments on the
Is that
Oundle
what
Oracle?
page one at the bottom?
Sorry? Oh no, we won't have that on. It's fine. I don't know why it's put that on there.
There's Royal British Legion with the full stop.
Since I've sent it out, there is one mistake on the estates report at the end of the second paragraph.
Well done then.
So, if everybody is happy,
Yes.
subject to those minor mods, that the Oracle is approved and that it goes out, do I have a proposer?
I don't like to go for that.
Councillor Fuller, seconder, Councillor Oakes N. All those in favour, please.
I'm only abstaining on the basis that
Yeah,
I've had a
chance
chance
to
to read it, so he's right.
Okay. I move on now to financial matters, 199. To approve the bank reconciliation, balance sheet, budget report and hub trading account. So in the absence of Councillor Glenn, who is the councillor responsible for finance, you've got them in your pack. Everything is looking healthy. I don't think there are any anything major glaring problems in there that I've spotted. If anybody's got any comments on the accounts?
I'm happy to propose them.
I'll second it.
Lovely. We have a proposer and a seconder. So, those in favour?
Yeah.
And that's everybody. Thank you.
And also the next one.
19902, payments for January 2018. They're in a separate document in your pack.
I see.
Yeah, got it. I'm happy.
It's sort of 2 pages, but it's in fact it's slightly less than what we usually have as a total amount for the month. It's usually in the order of about 52,000. It's 46,745. So it's not a heavy month for payments. Again, nothing glaringly obvious, I think, stands out. I've got already a proposition from Councillor Oakes N, seconder Councillor Fuller. Those in favour? And that is everybody. Thank you. Item 200, planning matters. 200.01, to receive the minutes from the planning committee meeting held on the 6th of Feb. Unless Councillor Chappell, who chairs that, has got anything specific, in view of the time scale, nothing outstanding. Okay, you've got them in your pack. If there are any questions, yes.
By proposing.
You're proposing, okay. Seconder.
You don't need to.
We
No,
don't
no,
need
no,
to.
no,
Just to
just
receive.
receiving it.
Just to receive minutes. 200.02, to receive notification of submission of the Neighbourhood Development Plan for Glapthorne, consultation under Regulation 16 of the Neighbourhood Planning Regulations 2012. Councillor Chappell, at the beginning of the meeting, I gave your apology, believing that you would make it before the end of the meeting.
As I am now here,
Yeah.
can I now declare an
Yeah.
interest in that item? On the basis that I had something to do with the writing of it.
We've done all
But again, it's just to receive it. I think perhaps we need just to write back to Glapthorne and confirm that we've received it. It's actually come from ENC,
Yeah,
the document.
it's if you want to, if you've got any comments.
I was going to ask, do we have a plan for reviewing it and making a response? Are we going to respond? Are we going to...
If you wish to respond, we can do so through a neighbourhood plan.
It was a question, an
Yeah.
open question. I wasn't particularly volunteering to do so. I just wondered whether we felt we should.
We've obviously looked at it at the earlier stage.
Yes.
We did
14,
pass
yeah.
some comments
Yes.
at that point,
Yeah.
which seem to be reflected in the plan that we've now got. So whether there's anything specifically we would want to comment upon, other than perhaps to express our satisfaction that certain things aren't in it.
Yes. Yes.
So perhaps just all that's required, and perhaps a letter of acknowledgement, and we don't
Letter of acknowledgement to say we've received it with thanks. And yeah, if the working group spot anything and we wish to discuss it at working group, then we can forward that back to council if there is anything.
Okay.
I believe it's the same consultation period as it was for Reg 14,
Yeah.
so it will be 6 weeks for us to study it anyway. Item 201, Estates Matters. 20101, to receive the minutes from the Estates Committee meeting held on the 23rd of February. Again, in view of the time, unless anybody's got any specific comments to raise about the Estates Committee minutes, they're in your pack. No questions? We've received them and we'll move on if everybody's happy. 20102, to receive a request from a tenant in the courthouse regarding heating issues in the office and to agree a response.
I think I forwarded
You did?
Yes.
email to everybody regarding this. Heating has been fixed yesterday and today, and I have spoken to this particular person on a couple of occasions, but at the time when she wrote this letter again, she still felt that she wanted some form of rebate on her rent for this coming year.
Is there a problem with that?
It would go up a further. It would go up a further £200. So in effect, she's asking that she wants the same rate for this year that she's just had for the next year.
Awesome.
Entirely with council what you decide to do here. This person, I believe, is towards the end of their first year as a tenant. I don't know at what point they give notice, but I think that the comment earlier on was that she may decide not to. They've got a break clause which enables them after 1 year to cease the tenancy. Whether that will still happen, I don't know, even if we reduce it. But that's to be seen. I open it to the floor. Councillor Fuller.
We do. How long's the heating been?
Well, the thing is, it's been going on for some time. I mean, going back to sort of October time, November time last year,
Yeah.
and various things were being looked at. But then, with one thing and another, there was a bit of a delay, and that's why it didn't actually come to me until the last week.
I think it was us, and we were renting, and we were cold for a year, or whatever it is.
It's pretty cold.
Yeah, I would suggest that we do what she asked, because
Yeah.
we don't want to lose a rent just for the sake of £200.
No.
Yeah.
And it's goodwill, and that'll make us stick in it for a long time. It's good rent.
Before we do that, we have established that there are only 1 or 2 tenants affected by this, haven't we?
So one half of the building, yeah.
Well,
How
But
many are in that half of the building?
Well,
it's only on 1 floor in one half of the building, isn't
No,
it?
it's not 2 floors.
Both floors,
Yeah,
right.
but one part is empty anyway, so that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
The other office, the gentleman there has another heater, and so he was warm. This particular office, there are 2 parts to it. She has an electric heater. One part is quite warm, the other part isn't. And it was just, she's got this tiny heater to try and heat quite
it's
big
not
area.
about.
She is the person that's been mostly affected.
No, she-
Mm.
I propose that I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'll second.
Proposer from Councillor Fuller, seconded Councillor Hutton. Those in favour?
It's been,
That's everybody.
it's been human.
Yeah.
We'd like to keep them.
Yeah, we'll lose more money if we're vacant for a while, won't we? Yes, yeah.
20103, to receive a letter from a prospective tenant for the courthouse and to agree a response. Now, this is actually somebody who came to us a very long while ago wanting rooms, in fact one of the first tenants, and they still haven't moved in because they've been having problems selling their other premises. and they were, as I say, one of the first tenants we had, and they are now offering some money as a goodwill gesture to say that they are still interested and they would still like the rooms.
No brainer.
I spoke to Paul last week, and he was almost hopeful that he'd be able to get back to me before today and say it's sorted, but
Yeah.
obviously it's still delayed.
Yeah.
So I just go back to them and say we're fine with that.
If they're giving us the money.
In fact, those two officers are the ones that got their heating in.
Right. So it's a good job they're not occupied, otherwise we'd have another complaint.
They're all right now.
No,
It's the first I'd heard that office was still empty, because, as I say, they were one of the first tenants, and with those people in place, we are now fully occupied.
Yeah.
We've got full occupancy in there now, and the income is going to be more this year than expenditure. We've spent a lot of money over recent years on maintenance down there to get the place back to a decent state, because it had been let go for many years. So we're spending a lot of money on maintenance there, but even so, we're still in the black. We're still receiving more money than we're paying out, and we are subsidising one or two amenity organisations within there at the same time. So I think the council and the staff and our agent have all done extremely well, and we should congratulate our agent and our staff on the wonderful job they've done for us there.
Is that a letter? Is that a letter? I think a letter would be nice.
What, back to...
The staff,
Well-
it's the staff.
Oh, right, oh, yeah.
Because you just say to everybody, it's in the minutes, but actually a letter to Berries, is it Berries?
Yes, Barry's who we use, yeah.
And the staff would be a nice gesture to show that we've had a success story. I mean, it's a shame it's not the Oracle, but it's a bit dry. But actually, I think that should be praised, because it shows that in the current state, we're doing so many things, we've actually got a major success story there. We've achieved something. We've had a lot of things, but that's an achievement. Sorry, I just thought I like to be positive, as you know.
Yes.
And that's a very positive story.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, that's been noted. Thank you, Councillor Fuller. 202 Neighbourhood Plan, 20201 to receive an update on the Neighbourhood Plan. We've continued with meetings, we've continued with meeting various groups of the town. We've held this month we've held market days on both the Thursday and Saturday markets, and I think the one thing we've got to do this meeting, because it's now 17th of January and 21st of January when those letters came in, we need to respond to these two letters which have come in from residents of St Christopher's Drive. At least one of the ladies is present in the audience. But I think you've all seen the letters in your pack previously, and they're concerned about the St Christopher's Drive site, where I think the thing that's upset the residents is the fact that at the town meeting at the Queen Victoria Hall, the developer representing Persimmon was present, and they showed schematic drawings of what the site might look like, and not just those 45 dwellings, but also, if the rest of the site were developed, what it would look like with the whole thing developed, with something of the order of, I think, 95 properties shown on it. So I think that's what's upset the residents of that part of town. I've spoken to quite a lot of people from St Christopher's Drive, and I've got a meeting coming up, and Councillor Hutton has offered to come with me to talk to the residents in here on Saturday, and to go through their concerns and to see what we can come up with. Give them the information they need, and to see what we can do, and obviously to gather a lot more comments to go into that spreadsheet of all the comments. Now, so first of all, I'm suggesting that we thank these two residents for their letters, and to reply to the points. The first one is stating the statistics. The neighbourhood plan does indeed include 312 houses spread across 7 sites. The government's minimum requirement was shown as 250 houses on the slideshow I showed that night, which was the figure. That slide was from the 2015 presentation that was going to be made and was cancelled. But that number was the correct number until very recently. That number is constantly changing due to a number of factors. The fact also is that the developers could apply to build 1,000 to 1,200 houses in and around Oundle across all those sites, and to get them provisionally, and it's only provisionally, I'll come on to some of the points further on in the letter, to get them to provisionally agree to 312 between the lot of them rather than 1,000 to 1,200 has been a major achievement, I think, by the working group to get that number down. And most of that was done as far back as May 2015, is when a lot of these numbers were discussed, and the site maps as to where housing would be. When the residents saw the developer there with all their information, the letter says it looked like it was a fait accompli between the neighbourhood plan committee and the developer. There is no fait accompli. If we come to you with a neighbourhood plan with no numbers in it and no maps, and just said they're building some houses somewhere, you would have said to us, well, where and how many? So we've had to go that far to get some provisional agreements. They are only provisional. The whole point is that this is the time when you're having your say. It's now public participation. This is the time for the public to look at those sites and to come back with their comments on what they think of those sites, what they think of the numbers on there, and what should happen. So I'm suggesting that there is no fait accompli between the council / neighbourhood planning committee and any developer. On the 20th of May 2015, all the developers were invited to interviews with the then housing group of the Neighbourhood Plan Working Party, and provisional housing numbers were discussed for each of the 7 sites. At that point, the developers were described in the letters as developer partners with the Working Party, because those 7 sites, if they were the sites that were going forward, then we wanted the developers to work with us, not against us. We wanted them on board. We didn't want them putting in planning applications outside of the scope of the neighbourhood plan. The provisional agreements as to the site areas and numbers of houses were reached with most developers by December 2015, and again in January 2017 letters went out to the developers to confirm that the position had not changed. So on a number of occasions there has been correspondence, and it's purely on the site area and the number of properties in there that has really been discussed. There are 1 or 2 other things have been mentioned between the Working Party and the developers, but that's along the lines of benefits that the site could offer, to the town, and that's mainly on other sites because I don't think Persimmon have actually offered us a lot of benefits. Apart from all the sites, I think, have agreed that somewhere in there they will build cycleways and pathways within the site, so that we can have a circular cycleway around the town and spokes into town from various points. But other sites, they've talked about benefits. As I say, they haven't on that Persimmon site, but other sites have offered up benefits. One site is giving us a large extension to the cemetery, and others are giving other benefits to the town. The meeting at the Queen Victoria Hall was a public meeting, and as such the developers were entitled to attend. We couldn't actually stop them from coming. It was important that the public knew who the developers were, and that they were able, I actually pointed them out to the people present in the meeting, and offered the chance to talk to them during that meeting if you wished. So you could actually talk to them after that meeting. The information that was supplied by the developer on the night of that meeting has not been shown to or discussed with the town council. We've asked for it and we've not been given it. That's correct still, isn't it? We've still not had that. It forms no part at the moment of any discussion between the town council and the developer because, frankly, we haven't seen it. So what they showed that night was without our knowledge or consent. It was right, coming now to the matter of what happened with that site when the decision of Persimmon to build there was taken to an appeal. It was right to fight the appeal at that time, and this I've got from East Northants planning engineers on yesterday. They went through this in some detail with us. They feel it was right to fight the appeal at that time. The reasons why the site was refused then can now mostly be overturned, they feel. This is the planning authority feel this. The situation on housing site was refused then and can now, on housing stock and term of years that we got that housing stock for have changed considerably in that time. There's mention of what's in the Joint Core Strategy. The Joint Core Strategy was mainly developed since that appeal, and the Joint Core Strategy, the engineers tell me, does not allocate specific sites. It might mention a number of sites, but it's not making specific allocations on specific sites within the Joint Core Strategy. On the matter of the settlement boundary, which is also mentioned here, this has been revised in the plan to incorporate all 7 of the sites because I think very few of them are actually inside the previous settlement boundary. Most of those sites laid outside of that old boundary. And I don't know whether we'd find the necessary properties within that boundary. The neighbourhood plan has been presented to Oundle Town Council. There was a comment in the letter that we'd obviously ignored, and it's also the mainstay of the second letter, that we had ignored advice from East Northants Council. The plan has been presented to Oundle Town Council on a number of occasions since I joined the council in June 2014, and the plan was adopted in June 2017 when I became mayor. That's when the plan was agreed at this council. East Northants Council have been involved throughout. We have had many meetings with them, and they are well aware of what is in our plan. And again, we were meeting with them only on Monday and discussing that with them again on Monday. of what's in the plan. The whole purpose of the sequence of meetings, since we've been having a series of meetings since November 2017, we've had 2 in the Queen Victoria Hall, we've had a number of surgeries here, we've had 2 Saturday markets and 2 Thursday markets, and all of those have been to get the public's opinion. There will indeed be another town meeting, plus a number of other events where the public can continue to make their comments. I think that's the... unless anybody has any comments on what they'd like to add to that, you've seen the letters. Whether you feel that covers it, whether you want to add or change any of those comments.
From my point of view, it seems fine from my point of view. I think that states the position that we're in.
And we've consulted with everybody concerned. And so that will be the basis of a letter that we will send back to Nadine, who is here present tonight in the audience, and also to another lady who's sent me a letter.
I think the only other thing that we might consider is that, and I know there are a number of points being made about should the development go ahead, whether things can be done in terms of planning conditions regarding access to the site and trying to mitigate the impact of traffic down through Ashton Road and St Christopher's Drive. I think those are very valid points. They definitely should be something that we try to deliver at the appropriate time when the planning does go forward, assuming it does. But I mean, in terms of the neighbourhood plan, I support what you've said there.
Thank you. Yeah, I think those issues will come up again on Saturday with you and I. We're going to have a flip chart here, and I think we'll get more opinion on that day from the public if we can then piece together what might be an argument for a case to turn the site down. We'll see what we can make of that, and we'll be able to tell you what East Northance's view is on the various points that we might be able to raise there.
Can I actually say something? I mean,
Very
I
quickly.
drawn up a document which could be for discussion of various issues.
Yes.
Which we could talk about on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And the second, that's sort of one prong of it, is to see what sort of case there is and to discuss that case and what might happen if we put that case forward. Having discussed that with East Northants Council, we can go through what might then follow on from that. The second thing, I think, is then to look at, if that doesn't come off, what we can do to improve matters, either during the contract period and also thereafter on a long-term basis. If there are any changes that can be made, I'm thinking there about tree screens along the roadway to reduce noise levels and that kind of thing. We need to, I think, to go through a whole range then of things that might be done to look at ways to improve that site. And a lot of those sort of things have been in the comments again that have already come in regarding that site. Are you happy with that, Councillor Hutton, that you and I will go through that? One of us will be talking and the other one man in the flip chart, and between us we'll cover that.
I don't know whether I should have declared an interest at the beginning, but of course, I mean, I perhaps should have mentioned, and I think ladies probably know that I do live in the development that is affected by this. So it is.
So you know the road.
I live on
Ashton Road.
I live on Webb Close, yeah.
Webb Close, or you can see where the access is.
I walk down there every day, so yeah, I'm very, very familiar with it. Yeah.
And I'm glad.
Right. Okay. Are there any other comments on those letters or on the neighbourhood plan? Any other comments from councillors? No? Okay, I will move on then to 203, correspondence for action. No correspondence has been received. We're now going to move into a closed session. I'm going to read this out and then call for a proposition and a seconder. Please note that in view of the special and or confidential nature of the business about to be transacted, it is advisable in the public interest that the public be temporarily excluded and they are instructed to withdraw. That's our standing order 3C.
Can I ask why we have to withdraw from, is it 17204.01? I don't quite understand that. We've just done that. We just received an update. So I don't quite understand why.
No, well, this is an update on a specific meeting. The content of that meeting is commercially sensitive. It's not. I can tell you, it's nothing to do with St Christopher's Drive.
It just seems a bit odd.
Yeah, no,
Suddenly.
it's a discussion about another matter that is very loosely neighbourhood plan, really, but it's a meeting that we've had with some other people that would have to be.
Odd, the way it's worded.
Yeah.
It's the same as what we just done.
Yeah. No, this is about specifically about the meeting held on the 6th of February, which was a meeting with specific parties, and what was discussed there is, for the moment, commercially sensitive.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Okay.
We look forward to seeing you both on
We'll-
Saturday.
We'll see you Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
On the basis of what you've just said, Mr Mayor, I'll second that proposition.
So I have a proposer and a seconder. Those in favour of closing the meeting? Thank you, that's unanimous.
Night.
Thanks, ladies.
Good night, thanks very much. So the recorders on, is it? Right, first proposition, please. Carl.
Right, it's proposed that the responses to the grievances will be reviewed and brought back to the next full council meeting.
Do I have a proposer? Councillor Fuller, seconder,
Go on, go.
Councillor Oakes, N. Those in favour, and that's everybody. The next proposition is that we replace the team leader.
Right, yeah. And the next one is to approve, to receive the report on the hub staff resignation and to approve the recruitment of a new team leader.
Team leader. Right. Proposer, Councillor Fuller, seconder,
Yep.
Councillor Oakes, S. Those in favour?
Yep.
And that's everybody. Thank you. Right. 206. Any other relevant matters for report only? Round the table. Councillor Chappell.
Only the state of New Road again.
Yes.
They've managed to fill in some of the potholes, but the trouble is new ones are opening up all the time. There's another bad one
St Peter's
down.
Road, St Peter's Road is terrible.
And St Peter's Road is practically a no-go area now.
South Road's full of holes as well.
Councillor Fuller.
I'll just add a bit, because I had if you like, a private and personal conversation with, I forgot my name now, the pothole person lady, and I received an email back saying that they would be done by Sarah Barnwell, couldn't think of her name for the life of me. It looks like there's a several-month gap between
May, I think she
reporting
said, did
them
she?
and them doing it, but they have guaranteed to do them by May.
Yeah.
Right.
And they've been and put white paint round all the potholes, and this recent rain has washed it all off again.
Right. Councillor Hutton.
No.
Councillor Oakes, S.
No,
Councillor Oakes, N.
dog brings are fine.
Right, I have nothing, so with that I close the meeting at 10:13.
Well done. Well done.